Hello everyone, my name is Ashani Yapa. I'm a registered migration agent here at Sirus Migration. Today, welcome to the 54th episode of our live session, and we go live once every month, every first Thursday of every month now. Before moving into what's actually happening today, I'll just quickly tell you about what's happening at Sirus, what's new at Sirus, because this is very important information for everybody, and a lot of people, especially offshore, have been asking what's happening and how do we contact you from now on, and why, especially why Sirus not doing the live session today like he normally does. So Sirus Migration is expanding and we are opening offices offshore. That's why ISRU and our other migration agents and education agents are traveling around the world, opening up these offices and meeting you personally to discuss about your visa scenarios. You can actually meet migration agents or education consultants in your own countries now. Most of the countries, not everywhere actually. So I'll just quickly go through our contact details, including our existing offices and the new ones as well. So as you all know, Brisbane is our head office and our contact numbers are displaying on screen as I speak. So the best contact number is 0733618177. That is if you want to get in touch with head office, especially if you're on shore, or you can send us an email to admin@Sirus. And so that is our head office, and our Melbourne office, it's 0386099711. So once again, we have a physical office in Melbourne now, so you can go and meet a registered migration agent or education consultant, get all of the help that you normally get at Brisbane office is available at our Melbourne office as well. And our Sri Lankan operation was a little slower for a while. Now we are back on track. We have offices in Colombo and Venapur, our head office as well. That's our very first office. So the best contact number is +94 or 077 084 0700. You can also email us info.colombo@sirus.com.au. Our Venapur office is also open now and we have staff there. So if it's about your student visa, your work visa, your business visa, any of these matters, you can get in touch with us in Sri Lanka. And our latest office in Nepal has started, I think it's about a month ago, and the contact number for our Nepal is +77 444 2167, and the other number is +977 980 851 9764. Again, if you're in Nepal, if you want to get in touch with someone, you can contact the local number, and it still is the Sirus team that will be helping you. And also we have another important event happening very soon in Sri Lanka. So before we go any further, I'll quickly tell you about that too. It's happening on 14th of May in Colombo. There are many universities coming to Sri Lanka to talk about their special offers, and you can get offer letters on the spot in this expo happening in Sri Lanka. And also we have another event happening in our Venapur office on 16th of May. We have migration agents and education agents in both these events. So if you're in the country, if you want to see someone to find out about your options, get in touch with us. All right, so without further ado, I will move into today's agenda, what we're going to talk about. I'm going to quickly go through the monthly updates with regards to Australian visas. There's not much happened during the last month, but I will go through what's happened so you can be up to date. And then I will talk about the employer nomination visa, Subclass 482 and Subclass 186 very briefly, because those visas are trending these days. Many employers are struggling with the workforce, so they are moving into employing people from overseas. And we've been dealing with many employer nomination visas, especially this year and end of last year. And I'll also touch base on training visas and also go through some updates for offshore and entry requirements for Australia. And then I will give you lots of time to ask me lots of questions. I'm doing this after a while, so bear with me. But do ask me lots of questions and I'm more than willing to answer as much as I can. All right, so let's move to the update of the breakdown of migration program, skill migration program, as well as the family. So first I will go through the skill migration program. As you can see on the screen, we have the numbers for 2021-22 financial year, which is this year. Right now we are in 21-22, which is ending on 30th of June. And also you can see right next to it the 22-23 financial year numbers. I'll just quickly go through some of them. As you can see, I told you the employer nominated visas are trending these days, and a lot of employers are looking into sponsoring people. That's why, as you can very clearly see, 22,000 places for this financial year, but it's increasing to 30,000 places for next financial year. I will also later down the track tell you how it can benefit you, or where you can fit in to take advantage of this increase, even you're onshore or offshore. And again, you can see a skilled independent visa has a big jump from 6,500 to 16,000. So that's again really good news, especially for people who are offshore. I can already tell that it's going to be good news next year. And also regional visas have pretty much more than doubled. Same with 190 or state nominated visas doubled, almost doubled. But business innovation and investment visas have cut down a little bit, but it's not much, and I can tell you that still it's quite a big number. 9,500 for business visas is quite a big number. And as you can see, global talent visas have gone down. Lots of people are still applying for global talent visas. People are a bit disappointed as well, because now the wait time is almost over a year to get an EOI. I think cutting down the numbers would be a good thing, so there'll be less number of visas issued, and hopefully they can work to cut down on the backlog of waiting visas, and the waiting times will hopefully go down. So that is just a very brief look at the skill migration program compared to this year, what's going to be like next year for skilled visas. Now I will quickly go through the family visas as well. So as you can see, family visas are parent, child, partner, and other family. The biggest part of this was the partner visa. There was a massive increase this year. It was 72,300. Now it has gone down to 40,500. But still, it's again a big number. So if you're one of them wanting to bring your partner over from whichever the country, or if they're living here and wanting to apply for partner visa, you can still do so. It's still a quite big number. And as you can see, there's lots of partner visas being granted for our clients, and we've applied for lots of partner visas, and I can see that this is going to be the same for next year. And parent and child hasn't changed too much. Parent visas have gone up. That's again really good news for lots of our audience and clients, I can imagine, who has parents stranded offshore, who couldn't come to Australia in the last 2 years. Now you have the opportunity to apply for parent visas as well. So now I think we will move to what's the next one? There is another interesting topic that I would like to bring to your attention for 485 graduate visa holders who could not come to Australia, or who could not actually use their visa to their maximum capacity. So there are some visa holders who are eligible to get a replacement temporary graduate visa, or an extension of the visa until 30th of September 2022. Most of these applicants have already got this extension. So it was an automatic extension. You don't have to do anything. The department automatically gave you visa until September 2022. I'm sure most of you would say, yes, we did get that. But there's going to be another replacement visa coming into effect from July 2022. there's not too much information out there exactly who's going to be eligible for this visa, but I think that is a good visa that you should definitely keep an eye on to see if you're eligible to get this replacement visa. It'll be for the full duration, or it could be for the half of the duration that you already had the visa. But again, lots of international students really highly depend on this subclass 485 or the TSS visa, because that is like the bridge between their finishing the student visa and getting the necessary skills to move to their skill migration. So it's a very critical visa for pretty much all the international students. And most of them could not use this visa during COVID. Either they were stranded offshore or they couldn't find jobs. Lot of reasons. So that's probably why the department has come up with this replacement visa. So keep an eye on it. If you're eligible, definitely get this visa for yourself. Then you have this extra time to be eligible for your skill migration. And also I can see from the numbers as well as what we've been hearing, there's going to be good news for skill migrants as well, especially from offshore. You will have many opportunities, increased opportunities in the coming financial year. When I say that, what I meant was most of the occupations were closed for offshore applicants. Most of the states were completely closed for offshore applicants during the whole of last year. So I can see that this is going to change because Australia is now open. As long as you have a visa, as long as you have fulfilled the entry requirements and you're holding a valid visa, now you can enter Australia, which is really good news. That's something we didn't have last year. So that means you can take that opportunity and get the offshore skill migration going for next financial year. That's pretty much, actually there's another update for subclass 186 employer visas. Yes. So as you can see in this screen, there's a relaxation. Oh no, this is the student visa. Sorry. I'll actually discuss this first. So again, a really good news for lots of international students. Normally, international students could only work for 40 hours a fortnight. So that's been like there for a very long time, for as long as we can remember. When COVID happened, when there was a big employment shortage, they released these rules a little bit and said, okay, if you're working in some industries, for example, aged care, hospitality, so these critical sectors, they got a release of working hours, so they could work full time, 38 hours or even more a week. Now it's extended even more, so international students are able to work more than 40 hours a fortnight in any sector of the economy. So maybe you already know about this, maybe you don't. If you don't, then it's very good news. You can work more than 40 hours a fortnight legally. You can work for your tax file number. You can work for your ABN, which is fine. When this rule changes, or if this goes back to normal, then we will know and we will let you know. But for now, the working hours has relaxed. I'll also go through the other update of 186 changes. So subclass 186 is employer nominated permanent visa. It used to be you needed to have 3 years full-time work experience in order for you to claim the work experience and be eligible for this visa. This new change means you can now work 6 years part-time and still be eligible for subclass 186. This is actually really good news for most of our applicants. Lot of them do struggle because sometimes they take breaks, sometimes they go part-time and then go back to full-time and they miss that whole duration. Or sometimes if they're on student visa or other visas, they've been working part-time because they couldn't work full-time. Now these people can be eligible for subclass 186. This is really good news, this relaxation of the work experience rule. So that's another update. I think that's pretty much all the updates for last month. and also some updates. So now I will move on to what I said I'll talk about in today's live session. I'll very briefly touch base for the next 10 minutes or so on employee nominated visas and GTI and bit of business visa, and then I will give you time to ask questions. So let's move to subclass 482. There is another change for subclass 482 before I go any further. So this new legislation has been approved to apply for subclass 482 short-term visa holders to get permanent residency. So normally if you're a cook, sales or marketing manager, some other occupations, you are not eligible to get permanent residency through this subclass 482 visa. But there's a relaxation of rules to allow people who's been on this short-term visa for a period of time to get permanent residency. Again, really good news for some subclass 482 holders. If you believe you fall under any of these categories, anyone who's holding a short-term visa, I think get in touch with the migration agent, find out if you're eligible. This may not last for a very long time, so you should take this opportunity and apply for permanent residency if you're eligible, because this is really a golden opportunity for people who's on short-term stream. Now let's move on to the employee nominated visas, and I will quickly briefly explain what it is. So this is not an update. Now we are moving from updates into employee nominated visas. As you can see, the places again pretty much doubled for employee nominated visas. I think there's going to be 30,000 places this coming year, which is good news. And I did tell you I will explain how this can benefit you. So as you can see, if you're onshore or if you're offshore, if you have an employer who's willing to give you a sponsorship, which means willing to give you a job, willing to pay a certain wage depending on your job, and willing to give you a long-term permanent full-time contract, then you can be eligible for these visas, either subclass 186, 482 or 494. I'm not going to go into greater details of each visa because most of you already know that, or this information can change depending on your personal circumstances. But what I want to highlight though, if you're in Australia or offshore, if you believe that, okay, I am working in one of the sectors or one of the occupations that's on the medium to long-term list, short-term list, ROL, which is the regional list, or any of the Dharma lists, or priority migration skill occupation list, then you may have an opportunity to get this employer sponsored visa. I have dealt with clients who are offshore who's never been to Australia, but they have found employers who's willing to sponsor them for these visas. As you already probably know, there is a skill shortage in Australia right now, so employers are looking beyond what they were looking last year or the year before. They are looking at people who are offshore, skilled people to keep their businesses going. So this is your opportunity to go and find employment in Australia, or if you're already working, have a talk to your employer, see if they're happy to sponsor you for one of these visas. And if they do have an interest, then of course talk to a migration agent, find out if you're eligible to move anywhere further from there. Or even if you're just not sure, if you're working as a cook, you've been working for some time, you're not sure if you're eligible, get in touch with the migration agent, find out if this is an option for you. As I always keep telling people, 190, 491, that's been the trend for quite some times, but now it's changed, it's shifted, especially due to COVID. So there are other opportunities available. Do look into it and see if you are eligible for one of them. And also the next one I would like to highlight is the training visa. I don't know if we have a slide for that for you to look at training visas. Mario's nodding his head, which means we don't. But I will quickly tell you what training visa is and how it can come in handy. So subclass 407 training visa, we got one granted, I think even last week as well. this lady, this person was from offshore. She's never been to Australia. She found an employer who's willing to offer her the training plan, and we got the nomination and visa approved, and I think she's already arrived in Australia. So the good thing about 407 compared to other work visas, number one, it's very cheap because there is no SAF levy or any of the levies that the employer has to pay. So compared to subclass 482 or 186 can cost the employer somewhere between $5,000 to $10,000, but the 407 visa will only cost less than $1,000. So that's number one. And number two is the applicant does not need to have any work experience. Obviously, that's why it's called a training visa, because you are getting a training delivered to you in your workplace while you're working. So that's why it's called a training visa. Because of that, you don't need to have any work experience. The other benefit of subclass 407 visa is you don't need to be working full time for the employer. So with subclass 482 and subclass 186, as an employer, they need to offer you a full-time job with a permanent full-time contract and a certain wage. But training visa, it's a training wage, and also it can be part-time work. So if your employer, and if you're only working part-time now, you can keep working part-time and move to a 407 visa potentially if your visa is if your current visa is coming to an end. And also 407, the training visa can be a really good pathway towards subclass 482, either work visa or subclass 186 permanent visa. So that's why subclass 407, it's a good pathway or a good bridge between your current visa and your future visas, especially to get work experience. So if you're someone who you think you may be eligible for subclass 407, again, get in touch with us or any other migration agent. We'll be able to explain, look at your eligibility, check your qualifications and everything, and see if you're eligible to go for this visa. So the next up is GTI, very famous GTI. So GTI is Global Talent Independent Visa. It's a very quite new visa. When we first started the visa, it took us about 2 to 3 weeks to get an EOI, but the time has significantly increased now. But still the visa is there, even though there's less numbers. We do encourage people to apply for GTIs. I even spoke to, I think, 2 or 3 applicants this week who I believe is eligible for GTI. So there are still people out there, people in other countries working for big companies like Microsoft or other companies who are already getting the high income threshold in other countries, or who's completing PhDs, who are already completed PhDs in the last 2 to 3 years, who can bring a great benefit to Australia in their sector, would still be eligible for GTI. So don't be discouraged because it takes a very long time. If you have an outstanding profile, you should be able to get the GTI EOI granted. So I'll just remind you the sectors that's available for GTI as well. That's resources, agri-food and agri-technology, energy, which is renewable energy mainly, health industries, defense, advanced manufacturing, which I haven't seen too many applicants from. So we do, and space, we do encourage people to apply if they're from that sector. Circular economy, digitech, infrastructure and tourism, financial services and fintech, and last but not least, education. So if you're in one of these sectors, if you're earning high income threshold or a PhD holder, and if you believe you have international recognition and can bring your skill set will bring Australia a lot of benefits, then you are most welcome to apply for the GTI. All right, so I will now get some time to answer some of the questions. So Raj is asking, any IT invitation expected from New South Wales this year? I hope he's mentioning this year means this financial year, which is ending in less than 2 months. Without knowing too much more about how many points you have and all this information, I can't really give you a direct answer for that. But just make sure that if you have already applied, that you had really high points and you're already working, depending on which sector that you applied under. But more than this year, I think you will have better opportunities in the coming financial year, because as you can see, for every sector of the skill migration program, the numbers have pretty much doubled. So obviously there'll be more invitations that we will be looking at from next financial year, which is hopefully will start somewhere in August. And I've got another question. Hi ma'am, can we claim full experience points for 190 even if ACS has deducted 6 years from my experience, even after having all the required proof of experience? Yes, there was a big debate about this as well, whether if ACS deducted the hours or the experience, can we claim it? I would say yes, as long as you have full evidence of the work that you have done. I believe you should be able to claim this experience. And 6 years is a very long time. If it's from offshore, pretty much I think you can get extra 5 points if you can claim these years, and that could mean all the changes as well. It's 3:30. We've taken half an hour to discuss. I think that is the end of the time for today. Again, before I finish this session, I would like to remind you that we do have a expo happening in Sri Lanka on 14th of May. So if you're in Sri Lanka, come and join us, get all the information. And if you want to get in touch with Sirus Migration, contact us admin@sirus.com.au, or you can call us on 13000 74787 or 13000 Sirus. Again, if you haven't subscribed for our YouTube channel, I'm not very good at this. So if you haven't subscribed for our YouTube channel, please do so and hit the bell button. And if you haven't liked us on Facebook, please do so as well. If you have any migration related queries, just feel free to get in touch with us. We have migration agents who can cover all sorts of Australian visas, from employer nominated visas to student visas, and we should be able to advise, sit down with you, have a face-to-face consultation, or have a Zoom or Teams consultation and answer any questions you have. Actually, before I end the session today, Isuru told me to talk about business visas. So I'm just gonna quickly tell you about business visas. As you can see, business innovation and investment visas has been there for a very long time in Australia, but the numbers have gone down a little bit in the coming year, but still there's about 9,500 seats available for business visa applicants. Do we have a slide for business visa? No, unfortunately we don't have a slide for business visa, but business visa is for people who are already operating a business offshore, and they have business experience 4 years plus, and also they have some amount of assets, at least $1.25 million Australian dollars worth of assets, and at least $800,000 worth of turnover. So if you believe, if you're a business person in another country or even in Australia, and you're interested in getting Subclass 188 Business Innovation and Investment Visa, and you do have at least $800,000 of turnover and also $1.25 million worth of assets, the assets can be combined asset between yourself and your partner. The turnover can come up from 2 businesses. So that is the basic requirement, and you need to be under 55 years of age. So if you believe you fall under this category, this is a great visa granted for 5 years, and you have 3 years to come to Australia, do your businesses, and make sure that you fulfill the requirement so you can get into permanent visa. So this Australian business visa is one of the visas that Sirus Migration handles a lot. We have migration agents, myself and also Isru. We've been handling business visa for a very long time, and we do have clients from all over the world pretty much for business visa. So if you believe you are eligible for this category, get in touch with us. We do provide free consultations, and we will see you if you're in Australia or if you're in another country. We will either talk to you on Zoom or Teams. If you're in Sri Lanka, I think we can see you face to face. If you're in Nepal, we will have time slots where we can again see you face to face. So get in touch with us. Actually, I do have Isru's telling me great session, madam. Thank you, Isru. Really appreciate your support. And I hope you're enjoying Sri Lanka and you're busy getting the Sri Lankan offices up and running. I have a couple of questions. Okay, wife working as an administrator and I'm finishing business analyst. I have work experience in Sri Lanka related to that. Okay, and can myself or wife apply for, I just lost it, any of these visas? Working as administrator, I'm finishing business analyst and I have work experience in, okay, so I believe you are currently in Sri Lanka and you are working in Sri Lanka. Business analyst is a good occupation which is on the medium to long term list. Administrator, I don't know if you mentioned network administrator, or I don't really understand that occupation, but I do believe both of you, if she's a network administrator and if you're a business analyst or you're in Australia, yes, please get in touch with us. I think business analyst, if you have work experience, if you can get a skill assessment, you should be you will have an opportunity. So send us an email, admin@sirus.com.au, and I will give you a consultation myself to discuss your permanent pathways with regards to these two occupations. And I'll probably answer one more question before we end the session, and then I will end this session for today. So I've got Inshaf asking, do you source employers for eligible candidates? That's a really good question, Inshaf. We get asked that question a lot. As migration agents, no, we don't find employers for candidates. But what happens sometimes, we do have corporate clients. For example, we work with big hotels that we do visas for them, and they sometimes come to us and tell us, okay, we have this opportunity. Then sometimes we do help them by posting their opportunities either on our Facebook page or we talk about it on our live session. Other than that, we as a service, we don't really do that to find employers. But if you have an employer, by all means, we can help you with the visa. Okay, I've got one last question. I have 3 questions. Upon receiving a state nomination invitation, given still under assessment, if my points have increased for reasons such as accumulation of work experience or PTE, can I update my EOI? Yes, you certainly can update your EOI, and I also recommend you to update your EOI. Normally, if it's work experience or age, your EOI should automatically update as well if you did mention that in the original EOI. Or do I have to wait until the current invitation process give out an outcome? No, I think you should update it as soon as it happens. You should go and update your EOI. Until the outcome, will I get a bridging in which I can work? If so, is it unlimited and a time frame? Does DHA require the same documents as the state required for visa? Okay, so expression of interest or EOI is not a visa. So by lodging an EOI, you are not going to get a bridging visa. You will only get the bridging visa once you receive the invitation and when you lodge the actual visa application. So if it's a 491 invitation, you need to lodge the 491 visa to get a bridging visa. If it's 190, you need to lodge 190 to get the bridging visa. Once you get the bridging visa for 190, normally it does not have any conditions and you can work full time. A bridging visa does not have an expiry date usually. A bridging visa is a bridge between two visas. So your bridging visa will be valid until a decision is made on the visa that you're applying. So for example, if you're on a student visa, lodging 190, when the student visa finishes, your bridging visa will kick in. It will be available until a decision is made on your subclass 190. I hope that's clear. I've got Pratik asking, my wife is working in Northern Queensland as an accountant, that's great, for 2 months in an accounting firm. She has 7 each and 10 years of skill assessment from CPA, that's really good. When CA, she apply for 190. Yes, that's really good, because to apply for 491 in Queensland, right now what we need is 3 months work experience. So if she's already been working for 2 months in an accounting firm as an accountant, I believe, she'll be eligible to lodge the 491 in 1 more month. But don't wait for 1 more month. Please do get your EOI in the system and just wait for that 1 month. As soon as she completes the 1 month, then just hit the button to lodge the 491 invitation. You shouldn't wait until she completes the 3 months, because from what you're telling me, she's going to be eligible in 1 more month, Pratik. So get ready now, and also talk to a migration agent, see if you can do anything to increase her points, to increase her chances. For example, maybe if you're her of course, yes, you said it's my wife. So maybe you can sit for English, get competent English and give her 5 points. Or maybe she can do NATI. So talk to a migration agent if you haven't already done so. Make sure she gets the maximum points by the time she completes her 3 months, so she can get an invitation quickly. I think the last invitation we got for an accountant had 85 points. So that was for 491. All right, I think that's it for today. We've had a great session. Thank you for all the questions, and I hope the information I gave you was valuable, and you've learned something today that can help you fulfill your Australian migration dreams. Stay safe. We will be with you next month, but if there are any updates that we believe it's valuable to you, we will definitely do a video before this 1 month. We are not going to wait for 1 month to give you the updates. If it's a critical update, it'll come to you from Sirus Migration. So stay tuned. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and like us on Facebook, so you should be able to see these new videos coming up, this valuable information to fulfill your Australian dreams once again. Thank you so much. Stay safe, guys.